All right, so today I'm sharing my 7 makeup game changers. I was just thinking lately that there's so many things I feel like in the last 6 months to a year that I've been doing differently with my makeup, different techniques, different products, brushes, whatever, that have just made such a difference that I want to put it all into one video. So I hope these help you out. If you try any of these, let me know how it goes for you. But like always, everything is listed down below in the description box. I made Nescafe and it's like the 3-in-1, and I feel like I'm wired. This thing has so much sugar in it. Normally I'm a black coffee kind of gal. This is intense. All right, so we're starting off with my base on. So I have foundation on right now. I have on an SPF underneath. This is my favorite, this guy. And over top, I mix the Say Slip Tint, but you have to apply this with a brush. I think it looks amazing with the brush. Sponge doesn't do it for me. I have the shade 3.5. Right now, this shade is a little bit too dark for me, so I mixed it with my Purito BB cream in the shade 21 Light Beige. So I have on a little bit. I just actually put on the Call Star Self Tanner. Side note, this tanner I love when I want it to develop within like an hour or two. So as we're sitting here filming, I will get like a little bit tanner, but it just dries immediately. You can like put clothes on. Unrelated to the video. So if you're new here, I have a lot of makeover videos in different cities where I have different makeup artists do my makeup, and throughout those videos, it's been interesting to see the certain things that makeup artists consistently do, like throughout all of them. And one of those things is lighter brows. I used to do my brows basically like a dark brown shade, not black, but pretty close, like very dark. And I do have tattooed brows on, but I think they've been on for like probably 6 years now. So there is some left, but a lot of it's faded off. It does just really nicely soften your face when your brows are too dark. Overall, it looks kind of harsh. And obviously it depends on your hair color, like what brow shade you'd go for. But especially if you have dark hair like I do, try lighter brows than you think. I have gotten questions from you guys lately about what I've been doing. So we're taking this moment to show you exactly what I've been doing to my brows. This is the Maybelline Express Brow in the shade Medium Brown. I love the formula of this. It has like a really nice hold and a perfect amount of pigmentation, and the comb applicator on here has 2 different sides. So there's like a longer comb and then a really mini tiny bristles. I usually start off with the really tiny side. I don't know why. One thing you can also do with brow gel like this is if you have really light brows or like blonde hairs in there, which I do sometimes, to like coat both sides, I'll like flick the hair down so I get the other side of the hair and then brush it back up. And I like the soft kind of fluffier brow look. It's a little bit harder to achieve because I do have that tattooing on underneath, but I basically get like as close to that look as I can. I feel like this brow gel defines the hair well. You can see just the difference between these two just off the bat. Another tip I have with brows is I used to go in with brow gel and then go in right away with my brow pencil afterwards. But what I like to do is wait for this baby to dry down. And I usually wait like a few minutes. I'll usually put on brow gel and then go in with my concealer and then go back to the brow pencil to finish off your brows, because brow pencil just applies differently when your brows are wet from the brow gel. So one of my favorite pencils of all time is this guy. This is the Joa. I've used it for years, like on and off, the Joa brow pencil. You can get it online on Amazon or at CVS. Everything is linked down below. But I used to use a darker shade of this, and I want to say maybe like a year ago, I switched to a lighter shade, the shade Brunette. This shade I find is perfect. It doesn't have too much redness to it. It's still light enough. It's like a nice medium brown. You have a spoolie on one side and then just retractable, so you don't have to sharpen this. Just a retractable, nice, fine tip on this one. So now it's been a couple minutes as I've been talking about this brow pencil. And yep, the brow gel is now dry. So I like to start at the very front of my brow and I'm bringing it a little bit inwards and down. My brows are a little uneven, so I just have to work around that. They're never gonna be matching. I mean, this one is higher and it starts higher, like the tattooing. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't, but you can start the front together. Like, don't do the rest of your brow, just do one at a time to kind of try and match where you're starting it. Okay, so I basically just do my best to make them even. They're not, you know, my brows are never perfect, but I just add some volume and try to even things out. My other favorite brow gel, I've used this one for a long time. This is the Lawless Hold Up Soft Set Creamy Brow Wax in the shade Medium Dark. This one I would say definitely has less hold than the Maybelline. The Maybelline doesn't feel, like you can't feel your brows. It still feels nice and lightweight and flexible. It doesn't feel like you have the hold. But doing lighter brows, like a few shades lighter than I used to, and just like thicker than I used to, definitely, I feel like gives a whole different look and kind of softens things up a little bit. I just have to tell you, for those of you who know my thing with 11s, if you don't, I talked about it in this Shadow and Schmooze video. I see 11 everywhere, like weird things, but I am in this Airbnb to film just for a couple days. I'm like filming here. There's, you know, nothing, just houses, whatever. I can't see any other numbers right outside the window right now. Like I'm just directly staring at the number 11. And there she is. Okay, coffee break was just very needed, so got the caffeine steaming hot. I'm excited. Too early, too soon. Just burned the crap out of my tongue. All right, my next makeup game changer. This is something that I've been doing for years now, and I feel like it just makes such a difference, is putting your concealer on and then letting it sit there for like 30 seconds to a minute before you blend it out or touch it. If you do this, it adds coverage. I feel like mine can tend to crease less when I do this because it's just a little bit more set. Obviously, it really depends on the product that you're using though, because some concealers can dry down really fast. So if you have a fast drying concealer, you wouldn't want to do that. My favorite concealer is the Milk Makeup Concealer in the shade 11C. So I'm gonna apply this today, let it sit on. This concealer brush is what I've been using every day. You've seen it in every video for months now, along with a couple other brushes that are like holy grail status now for me from Anisa Beauty. So I wanted to thank Anisa Beauty for supporting my channel and sponsoring a portion of today's video. I'm gonna be using these guys a little bit later on, but Anisa Beauty is vegan and cruelty free. They're made with synthetic fibers and they are so soft. The thing that really does it for me with Anisa is the density. That's one of my things with brushes, shape and density. You guys know I'm like particular about brushes because a lot of brushes are just too flimsy. You can't get good coverage. Anisa has the perfect amount of density and softness. And these are my 3 holy grail favorite brushes from the brand. So normally my code gives you 10 to 15% off. Right now they're actually giving you guys 20% off with my code Taylor. I'll have them linked down below, but you can get 20% off your entire order. I am very particular with concealer brushes, like very particular. It has to have, like I said, the right amount of density, it has to be soft underneath your eyes, and this one is angled, so it just fits perfectly under the curve of your eye. It doesn't take away the coverage of your concealer, and it has like a domed, angled shape to it. I'm hoping this shade right now, I'm hoping I got tan enough in the last hour that this shade works. But one thing I also like to do is only put concealer, it might be a little dark today, but that's okay. Only put concealer basically on the first inner, whatever this is, inner part of my eye, right there. Like I said, we're gonna let it sit, folks. Get a good, play a good song, do a good stretch, drink some coffee, whatever, phone a friend. So when I don't wait, like if I just blend out my concealer right away, I notice a big difference in the coverage that I get, pretty much no matter what concealer it is. So if you wanna get a little more coverage out of your concealers and just have it like, I think it just helps it wear better, crease less, overall look better, try this out. Okay, I want to say it's been about probably 45 seconds-ish. I take this brush with the longest side towards my inner corner, and I like to always pat in my, whether it's concealer, foundation, whatever, I tap. So I feel like I get the best coverage out of anything when you tap. Also, this shape is really nice for getting in, like you never want to miss right here with concealer. I'm trying to avoid putting eye makeup on or like things on my lids right now just because of the lash extensions. So normally I would bring my concealer all the way over, but just doing a little less today. There we go, nice and smooth coverage. Like I said, the concealer is a little dark right now just with the shades happening. It's okay, once I do the bronzer and everything, it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit too. I'm having some like breakouts up here. I think it might be a new SPF I was trying, but it's either that or the Revolution foundation. Whatever's left over, I'm just kind of tapping on any other spots I wanna conceal a bit more. So I am going to be adding powder to my face today, both under eyes and other areas, but first you always want to do like all of your cream products. So the next tip I have, I did this the other day and I was like, whoa man, why have I never done this before? Sometimes, a lot of the time, especially on fair skin, bronzers can just pull very orangey. And this is one of those shades that works for me. When I have tanner on, it's the Rare Beauty Happy Soul, but when I have fair skin, it just looks too warm on the face. I'll do a little hand swatch for you, but it just pulls like very orangey blended out. So what you can do is actually mix this. If you have any cream product that is too warm, too orangey for your liking, take a cool toned contour shade cream, because we're mixing creams with creams here. You can actually just mix them together to tone down the orange tones in whatever bronzer is too orange for your liking. So you can either do this by, the top of here is messed up by the way, by taking your brush and going back and forth, like just mixing the two and then almost like mixing it on your face, Or if you have more of a creamy bronzer formula, you could kind of swatch both of them on your hand and mix it with your finger and then go in with your brush and apply. The Rare Beauty is a pretty dry formula, so mixing it on your hand doesn't really work with this one. So I'm gonna go back and forth and kind of mix it on the brush and then on my face. And this is the brush I'm using. It's the Anisa Buffing Bronzer Brush. This is perfect, especially when you want that like chiseled look. Because of the shape of this, it's nice and narrow. So if you're using a cream contour product, or you have something that's a little more neutral or cool toned and you want it right in the hollows of your cheekbone, this is perfect because it just places it so easily because of the shape. You can use this for liquid, cream, or powder. So I'm gonna start with the cool tone shade, do like one swipe right here, and then go in with the warm shade and then just mix it on my face. And I'm going back and forth to each side just to like evenly kind of distribute the mixing, you know? Doing this just helps make it more neutral, tone it down, just a more flattering shade for my skin tone. There you go, super easy. So if you have a product that you're like not using, not getting used out of, just going to waste because it's too orange, try mixing in a cool tone product. Okay, next tip, this is something that I just randomly started doing, I wanna say like a year ago, and it's made such a difference with my concealer and just the way it looks with creasings. So what I do is I take a powder foundation. I like powders that have coverage in them for my under eyes. Translucent powders just like pick up everything, make it darker, don't look flattering underneath my eyes at all. So I always like a powder that has a little bit of coverage. It doesn't matter the name of the product. Like if there's a powder foundation, if it's just a powder, whatever, it's more about just the formula and how like fine of a powder it is, how smooth it is, how it sits on your under eyes. So don't worry about using powders for different things, you know, just like find one that works for you. This one's drugstore, it's the Essence Powder Foundation in the shade 05 Classic Vanilla. But what I do is I only apply this, I need to wash this brush really badly, I only apply it to the outer half of my eye. So I start like out by my eyebrow and then bring it down, look up, and I only apply it halfway in. And for me, this has really helped with the creasing. I went through a phase where my creasing was like so bad and anything I did, it was just not working. My under eyes were just not looking good. This has massively helped because, I don't know, it keeps the inner corner looking like moisturized because the concealer isn't powdered on the inner part. Like right here, you can see a little bit of glow, a little bit of dewiness, and then it looks really nice and just soft and flattering on the outer part of my eye. And for whatever reason, it just really helps with creasing. Let me know if you've tried this out, any of these actually, based on my videos and if it's worked for you or not, but this is what I do. And again, I just tap. Like I'm not swiping, I just tap. Just gives this soft like airbrushed effect to your face while keeping the moisture right there. Like I said, I'm not doing really eye makeup today, so I'm just taking whatever's left over on my powder brush and kind of setting my lid a bit. I'm gonna use the LYS blush in the shade Classy, so freaking good. So for years, I just pretty much altogether skipped powder because I just felt like my skin looked so much better without powder. And for the most part, I still agree with that. There are like very few powders that I actually like and that look better on my skin than without having them on. It's hard to find. But one of the game changers is just doing targeted powdering, only on certain areas. If you're someone who has dry skin, if you have a lot of texture, powders look heavy, powders don't look good on your skin, makes your makeup look cakier, try using a specific like blurring powder. Not all powders are created equal. You have to find one that's lightweight and blurring and that looks good on your skin, but try using it only in areas where it'll benefit you. So for me, that tends to be around my nose where I want like a little blurring. Sometimes, it's very hit or miss, but sometimes between my eyebrows, it can like really smooth things out depending on the powder. And then I'll add a little bit on my chin. I don't do any around here. I don't do any on my like all over forehead. Typically, some powders I can, like for example, the Physicians Formula Butter Powder, that one I can. This Urban Decay powder, I hate talking about this because it's been out of stock for forever and I'm just like crossing my fingers that they come back with this and it's not being discontinued. If you can find this, people have been finding it at Marshall's, at TJ Maxx, the Urban Decay All Nighter Translucent Powder. This is the best blurring powder I've found. This brush is amazing for powder. If you're someone who, like I said, has issues with like powder picking up, looking cakey, whatever, this has the perfect amount of density. It is perfect for powder. Also for bronzer. I love using this for powder bronzer too. It gives a nice like just bigger application if you have like a, you know, bronzer that you're trying to just put all over. Really nice for powder bronzer. I've also used this for blush before. This is like one of the few powders that I can apply all over. It's the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Powder. These two together Oh my God. I might put that all over, but I am gonna definitely use this around my pores using this brush. You need the smallest amount of this powder. I love how it has the mesh top. By the way, I used this powder on my mom and grandma in Philadelphia, and both of them, my mom actually ordered it from like a random site right away. Both of them, it made their skin look so friggin' smooth. The Physicians Formula powder is perfect when you want to keep the glow. Like right now, I don't want to totally mattify my forehead. I like the glow I have going on. Looks nice and skin-like. So I'm going to take a bit of this powder and just lightly set my forehead. It just softens things without mattifying. See how you can still see the sheen coming through underneath? With that same brush, actually, I'm gonna use a little powder bronzer today. I feel like I need a little more on my forehead. I just add a little bit of RMS Pomegranate Fizz to my cheeks just because I needed a little something. I'm gonna throw on a lip. This isn't part of my tips or game changers or anything. I just need to get the lip on. I'm gonna use Tarte Mauve. This is Makeup by Mario Pink Glow. Ooh, that was a satisfying sound. So is this. This has like a minty, like tingly kind of feel. Okay, the final two tips I'm gonna talk through and add some footage that, because I've shown this so many times in other videos, but not gonna do because of the lashes right now. But basically I wanna say like 5-6 months ago, I really changed the way I did my eye makeup. In general, I started doing less, and the goal I have now is to just like elongate my eyes without adding a lot. And I've found a couple different ways to just make your eyes look like really bright and open while still looking semi-natural. So what I've been doing for a while now is I take the Undone Beauty liner. I love this because it's the finest tipped eyeliner I've ever found. For me, it lasts well. I don't get any like bleeding or anything with this, but I take this and literally just place it almost like a lash. Like I make it look like an eyelash where I just take it on my very outer corner and do a little flick, just a light flick, very fine line. I don't put the eyeliner anywhere else. It just creates the look of almost having like adding a lash right there. It makes your eyes look longer and just really like open and bright without having like a heavy kind of line on. And then the final game changer before I got lash extensions, I've been using these lashes. These are the new Kiss glue-on lashes. You'll see me talking about these in my upcoming Raves and Rejects video, and I've showed applying these in a few different videos now, but basically these are no glue lashes that you put underneath your natural lash. The whole concept of these is a game changer for me because lashes typically bother my eyes. They feel like too heavy, and then the lash glue irritates my eyes, so I never have them on for like a full day. These I can wear for a full day. They stay on without glue. I talk more in depth about them in my upcoming video, but I just wanted to mention that putting just 1 or 2 of these on the very outer portion of your eye in combination with doing this just gives you that super pretty, like soft, open, fluttery kind of eye look, and doing that with a pop of like a white in the inner corner, so good. These 2 steps, if you don't have a lot of time in the morning, if you have kids, whatever, this one can take a little bit longer. Like there is a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, you can do it in like a couple minutes. But this is just one of those things where you can just do the flick. Literally takes about 2 seconds. You don't have to worry about like getting your liners even and doing that whole thing. It just makes such a difference in like a short amount of time. But right, so those are my 7 makeup game changers, things I've been doing lately that just make such a difference, and I think you should try. Let me know how it goes if you do try. Again, you can use the code Taylor for 20% off Anisa's site. I will have my exact 3 favorite brushes listed down below in the description box. All the products I used will be listed down below in the description box, but I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.